Hey guys, before we get started with today's video, I just want to briefly mention something pretty important. As I'm sure our American viewers are already aware, the United States 2020 presidential election is just around the corner. It goes without saying that every voice in our country has a right to be heard, but I just want to stress how important it is for those of you with the capability to vote in this election to exercise your right. Now more than ever, your vote counts. I know the world can feel like a scary place, but it may help to remember that you do have a say in the direction our nation is heading. I'm not telling you who to vote for, I only hope that you all realize just how lucky you are to be able to have a voice in regards to who represents the United States and the interests of our people. Please don't take that privilege for granted. Be sure to cast your vote this November any way you can, in person, by mail, or delivered to your local government representative. If you'd like more information or have questions, be sure to visit vote.org to check your voter registration status, register for a mail-in ballot, and more. Let's all do our part to move forward from this year towards a better future for our country and the rest of the world. Thank you. We're back, everyone. Thank you for listening to my little bit at the beginning there, but we're ready to move on to some more celebratory and festive October content. Those of you who have already seen my first Hallowed Forms video are probably wondering why I'm uploading the second part so early. I had initially intended to wait until the end of October to follow up on the series, but you guys had so many good ideas in the comments of the first video that I had to drop a few of them as soon as possible. We'll still be doing the end of the month video, showcasing my favorite illustrated designs that you guys have made, as well as a few more of my own pieces as well, but I couldn't wait that long to do a few more. Those of you hoping to have your illustrations shared in the final video, I'm going to be making a new channel on our Discord server exclusively for Hallowed Pokémon designs. Be sure when you share your work on the server to credit yourself with the name you'd like associated with your work. Otherwise, I'll just use your Discord handle. Some of you have got some really funny ones. But now let's take a stroll over to the pumpkin patch, illuminated under the ghostly light of the witching moon, and see which new Pokemon variants have been discovered. These are all ideas suggested by people in the comments of the last video, so I want to thank you all for your contributions. Let's get started. 3 new Hallowed Pokemon. Enjoy! We're going to start with what was probably the most requested of all Pokemon in the comments of the last video. Seeing as I had done a Hallowed Appleton, a lot of you wanted to see what its evolutionary counterpart, Flapple, would look like if it was evolved under the light of a witching moon. Almost everyone who asked for a Hallowed Flapple suggested that its design be based off of a candied apple, and that made so much sense to me that I was surprised I hadn't just done that for Appleton in the first place. A candied apple, for those of you unfamiliar with the treat, is really just that, an entire apple dipped in hot sugary syrup and eaten on a stick. It's pretty American, isn't it? Seeing as how Flapple was already just a little dragon inside of an apple and using it as a protective shell, I figured that the easy route to transforming it would be just to dip it in caramel. With a few extra chunks of nougat on top and replacing the horn on its head with something more like a wooden popsicle stick, we had a very simple yet very festive candied Flapple. The colors I went with are along the lines of what I wish shiny Flapple was in its regular form. I like that the skin of the apple is green, I just wish that Flapple's body was red. A little bit of self-fulfillment in this design for me. Flapple, the candied Pokemon. Under a witching moon, certain Applin undergo a unique transformation into a rare Hallowed Flapple. These Pokemon are not quite as fast as their Galarian relatives, but the hard, layered shell covering their bodies provides strong protection to oncoming attacks. Under too much pressure, however, the shell has a tendency to crack, and because of its chemical makeup, melts in high temperatures. This next concept was suggested to me by commenter Anthony Kafka. They had the undeniably brilliant idea of taking Delibird, one of the only Pokemon I can think of specifically designed around a Western holiday, and reappropriating it into a hallowed form. I love this idea on so many levels, not the least of which being how much of Delibird's initial design already lends itself to a trick-or-treater. I really didn't even have to change that much about it, adding some patterns that called back to a more vintage depiction of All Hallows Eve, such as a black eye mask and a striped pillowcase tail. I swapped the Santa beard out for a set of feather tufts that were to look something like goblin ears, and a crest of fluff on the top not unlike Murkrow's witch hat. And of course, the biggest change would be to the colors. I went for a very gaudy, very in-your-face palette, the kind of Halloween colors you'd most likely see at Party City. Just a full-on, unapologetic tribute to the childlike wonder that comes with the Halloween season, comparable to the feelings that some children get when they see depictions of Santa Claus. Delibird, the trick-or-treat Pokemon. When hatched under the light of a witching moon, a normal Delibird egg will instead yield an entirely different form of the Pokemon. In this form, Delibird is mischievous and cunning, and has a knack for causing trouble for entertainment's sake. Unlike its regular form, Hallowed Delibird prefers to take more than it gives. It sneaks around in the dead of night, rummaging through the homes of unsuspecting victims and absconding with their hidden valuables. It has a particular preference for sweets. And the last design that I was excited to share with all of you today came from a comment left by Mediocre in our last video. They had the idea of turning a Pokemon from the Florges line into an embodiment of the ofrendas left on graves of loved ones on the Day of the Dead in Mexican cultures. This, of course, was exciting because it tied these hallowed forms back into the original theme of the Maza region, which I'm sure a lot of you are missing. Don't worry, we'll get back to it soon. Ofrendas refer to any number of gifts, pictures, candies, and flowers given to those who have passed on from this world. In particular, marigolds play an important part in the ritual, and in the Aztec culture are considered flowers for the dead. And as yellow and orange colored marigolds are most popularly used for ofrendas, it worked well as the main color pop in this design. I also redesigned the head of Florges to look more like a sugar skull, adding another bold point of contrast to the Pokemon. The rest of the body, however, I kept gray, shaping the leaves of Florges' body to look more like tombstones. With the actual head of the Pokemon positioned in between the two, it gave the impression of a marigold and sugar skull resting on a gravestone. A really cool idea, and it gave me a deeper appreciation for Florges, a Pokemon that up until this point, I didn't really like. Florges, the offering Pokemon. On the night of a witching moon, when families gather to pay tributes to lost loved ones, they sometimes bring with them a Floette. These special Pokemon evolve into a unique form of Florges. In its hallowed form, Florges is said to be able to communicate with the dead, and can deliver messages from souls beyond the grave to their still living relatives. This may seem ominous, but, especially in the Maza region, they are considered great bringers of joy, connecting families to their long-lost ancestors from centuries past. Alright guys, that's it for today's Hallowed video. Which one of these 3 new forms did you like the most? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to leave any more suggestions you may have down there too. I'll pick 3 more favorites for the final part of the video. Happy Halloween everyone, Americans, don't forget to vote, and I'll see you all in the next video.